Welcome to the deep dive. You're here because you want to get informed, quickly and thoroughly, without feeling buried under information. That's exactly what we're about. Today, we're focusing on a topic I know is close to many of your hearts, feeling fantastic and staying strong during pregnancy.
Yeah, it's a big one.
You shared some really insightful material with us, excerpts packed with guidance on navigating this incredible experience with energy and well-being.
Precisely. Our goal today is to kind of distill the essential strategies, the really practical advice that'll empower you to not only feel your absolute best throughout your pregnancy,
Right.
but also to really prepare your body for, well, the demands of childbirth and the recovery journey afterwards.
Okay.
We'll be exploring everything from the fundamentals of how to move and rest to smart exercise guidelines and even specific ways to strengthen your core for labor.
Okay, let's jump right in then with something that might seem like common sense, but turns out to be a cornerstone as your body adapts. Good posture and moving with intention.
Yeah, and what's fascinating is the ripple effect of your changing center of gravity as your baby grows. Think of good posture, whether you're standing, sitting, or lying down, as your body's sort of natural recalibration to this shift. It's not just about appearances.
Right.
It's fundamentally about how your body handles the forces it encounters.
Exactly. The material you shared explains that good posture is like an internal support system, evenly distributing the impact on your joints, ligaments, muscles. This simple act can be surprisingly effective in warding off back pain
Right.
and that overwhelming fatigue that can sometimes creep in.
Absolutely. And there's a great little analogy in the source material. Imagine your head is balancing a crown.
I like that.
Yeah. To keep it steady, you naturally align your head so it's level and then gently draw it back so your ears line up over your shoulders.
Okay.
That subtle adjustment lengthens your spine, allowing your hips and ankles to fall into better alignment. It's a small tweak with, well, significant benefits for your overall stability.
I love that image of the crown. It's such a simple way to check in with yourself throughout the day. Now, what if you have to spend a lot of time on your feet? Because the source does advise caution about prolonged standing, especially later in pregnancy.
Right, that brings up a crucial point about circulation. Extended periods of standing can slow down the return of blood from your legs,
Okay.
which can lead to feelings of dizziness or lightheadedness. It can also put extra pressure on veins in your legs and pelvic area.
So what can you do?
Well, the good news is the material offers some easy fixes if you can't avoid standing for long stretches. Try shifting your weight from one leg to the other,
Okay.
gently marching in place, rotating your ankles, or even just propping one foot up on a low stool or step. Little things.
That makes perfect sense.
Yeah.
Little adjustments can really add up. Now, moving from standing to sitting, are there particular things to be mindful of there?
Absolutely. The same idea of alignment applies. Aim for your ears, shoulders, and hips to be in a relatively straight line. As your belly grows, you might find that a firmer chair with a more upright back actually offers better support and is easier to get out of than something low and soft.
Right. Sinking into a deep couch gets harder.
Exactly. The material also suggests using a small cushion in the curve of your lower back for added support, maybe even a low footrest.
Good tips.
And when it's time to stand up, the advice is to scoot to the edge of the chair, lean forward slightly, and use the armrests or the chair itself to help you push up, engaging your leg muscles rather than straining your back.
Smart. And they also address the fact that finding a comfortable position when lying down can become increasingly challenging as pregnancy progresses, something I know many experience firsthand.
Oh, definitely. And what's interesting is the range of discomforts that can arise, things like heartburn, shortness of breath,
Yeah.
and a condition called supine hypotension. That last one is really important to be aware of.
Supine hypotension. What's that exact?
So in later pregnancy, lying flat on your back can allow your uterus to press on the inferior vena cava. That's a major blood vessel carrying blood from your lower body back to your heart.
Okay.
This pressure can temporarily lower your blood pressure, potentially reducing blood flow to the placenta.
That's definitely good to know.
Oh, yeah.
So what are the recommended positions for sleeping or resting then?
The material strongly advises that after the 26th week of pregnancy, lying on your side is generally the best approach.
Mostly the left side, I've heard.
Often recommended, yes, but the main thing is off your back. They even reassure you that if you happen to wake up on your back, just roll back onto your side and continue sleeping. No need to worry excessively.
That's comforting.
And they offer a few tips for comfortable side lying. Placing a pillow between your knees helps keep your hips aligned. And as your pregnancy advances, you might find a small pillow or wedge under your abdomen provides good support. They even describe a slightly forward-leaning side position. Bottom leg straight, top knee on a pillow.
Okay, lots of pillow strategies.
Yes. And semi-reclined positions, propped up with pillows, can also be a good option if side lying isn't working for you.
And what about the often awkward task of getting up from lying down, especially as your belly grows?
Right. It definitely requires a more mindful approach to protect your abdominal and lower back muscles. The material suggests first rolling onto your side,
Okay,
then swinging your legs over the edge of the bed and using your arms to push yourself up to a sitting position before standing.
makes sense. And from the floor.
Similar idea. Roll onto your side, use your arms to lift your upper body, then get onto your hands and knees, bring one foot forward, and use your leg strength to stand up. Use a stable object for balance if you need it.
Okay, that makes sense. It's all about minimizing strain. Now, one more point under this idea of moving with care. Lifting objects safely. Pregnancy definitely changes how you need to approach that, doesn't it?
Absolutely. You've got pregnancy hormones relaxing your ligaments,
Right.
and your core muscles are adapting. This combo makes you more vulnerable to back injury when lifting, especially anything heavy.
So avoid heavy lifting is the main takeaway.
That's the key advice, whenever possible. The material even gives that relatable example of encouraging toddlers to climb into car seats or onto your lap instead of always picking them up.
Ah, good one. So if you absolutely have to lift something, what are the essential guidelines?
Okay, the material provides a clear, step-by-step method, even for light stuff from the floor. First, get close to the object.
Right.
Then, feet about shoulder width apart, squat down, keeping your back as straight as possible. Let your hips move back for balance.
Like a proper squat form.
Exactly. Grasp the object, hold it close to your body, and crucially, avoid twisting your torso as you lift.
No twisting, got it.
Use the strength in your legs to stand up, keep that back straight, and move directly where you want to go. Don't twist.
Okay.
And a final important note, especially if your work involves lifting. ACOG, the American College of Obstetricians and Gynecologists, has specific recommendations for safe maximum lifting weights during pregnancy. Worth looking into if that applies to you.
That's all incredibly practical advice for just navigating everyday movements. Now, let's shift our focus to exercise. The material you shared outlines some general principles for exercising safely and effectively during pregnancy.
Yes, and a primary point they emphasize is consistency. Aiming for physical activity maybe 3 to 7 days a week and incorporating variety.
Variety is good.
And always include a warm-up to prepare your body and a cool-down to let your heart rate return to normal gradually.
And regarding the intensity of exercise, what's the general guideline there?
Gradual progression is key. Start with activities that feel low to moderate intensity, especially if you're new to exercise, and build up strength and endurance over time.
Okay.
But it's important to remember that later in pregnancy isn't the time to push your limits. In fact, it's generally recommended to decrease the intensity as you get closer to your due date.
That makes sense. Listen to your body.
Exactly. And modify exercises for safety. Let instructors know you're pregnant so they can help with modifications too.
We've already touched on supine hypotension, but it's probably worth mentioning again in the context of exercise, right? Lying on your back.
Absolutely. Same issue. Lying flat on your back during exercise can also lead to that temporary drop in blood pressure.
So what do you do if that happens?
The material advises that if you start to feel dizzy or short of breath while exercising on your back, immediately roll onto your left side until you feel better.
Okay.
They also caution against holding your breath during exercise. This can increase pressure in your abdomen and pelvic floor, potentially cause dizziness.
Right.
They suggest using the talk test as a simple way to monitor intensity. If you can carry on a conversation without being too out of breath, you're likely at a safe level.
That's a really useful practical tip.
Yeah.
What else should you keep in mind when exercising during pregnancy?
Well, paying attention to your body's fuel and fluid levels is crucial. Make sure you're eating enough to support both pregnancy and exercise without losing weight.
Right. Not a time for weight loss diets.
Definitely not. And drink plenty of water before, during, and after workouts to stay hydrated. It's also wise to avoid strenuous exercise in very hot or humid conditions, or if you have a fever, to prevent overheating.
Good point.
Wear clothes that let your body breathe, don't trap heat. Your core body temp ideally shouldn't go over about 101 Fahrenheit or 38.3 Celsius.
Okay. And are there any warning signs that should prompt someone to stop exercising right away? Red flags.
Yes, definitely. The material lists several important ones. Any pain, a new headache, feeling nauseous or dizzy, blurred vision, any vaginal bleeding, Or if you experience strong, persistent uterine contractions.
Stop immediately and call the doctor if needed.
Exactly. Stop exercising. Contact your provider if needed. They also encourage being flexible, patient with yourself, really tuning into how your body feels, adjusting as needed. If you have questions, always best to consult your doctor or physical therapist. And finally, they remind us again about getting up from the floor properly, engage those core muscles, exhale as you rise.
All very important guidelines. Now let's delve into the why of exercising during pregnancy. The material you shared really highlights some compelling benefits.
Yeah, and what's so encouraging is that even though pregnancy can bring fatigue and discomfort, exercise can actually be a powerful way to boost your energy and overall well-being.
That seems counterintuitive, but makes sense.
It does. The material details tons of physical advantages. It strengthens the key muscles, pelvic floor, abdomen, lower back, supports healthy breathing, circulation, posture. And maybe most relatable, it can ease so many common pregnancy discomforts. Back pain, constipation, heartburn, shortness of breath, leg cramps, fatigue, swollen ankles, even insomnia.
Wow, it sounds like a natural remedy for so many of those common aches and pains.
Exactly. And beyond just comfort, exercise also helps lower the risks of things like excessive weight gain, gestational diabetes, gestational hypertension, preterm birth, even the likelihood of a cesarean birth.
Really? That's
Yeah.
significant.
It is. And it plays a big role in postpartum recovery, too, helping you regain energy and strength more effectively. Interestingly, later in pregnancy, regular exercise might even help your body produce more endorphins.
Natural pain relievers.
Exactly, which can be beneficial during labor.
Wow, the physical benefits are clearly substantial. But it's not just about the body, is it? The material also touches on the mental and emotional aspects.
Right, this is where exercise becomes really holistic. Regular physical activity helps reduce mental stress and fatigue, gives a real lift to your mood and how you feel about yourself. Aerobic activities trigger those mood-boosting endorphins, which can help stabilize hormonal mood swings and even lessen the risk or severity of depression and anxiety during and after pregnancy.
That's huge. And it goes even a bit deeper, touching on potential spiritual and social benefits, which I found really interesting.
Yeah, whatever your personal beliefs, taking time for quiet reflection, relaxation, maybe even prayer during or after exercise can be a powerful way to calm your mind, connect with something beyond yourself.
A moment of peace.
Exactly. It's an opportunity for inner reflection during a period of profound change. And socially, prenatal exercise classes offer a great chance to connect with other expectant parents, find community support.
Share experiences.
Yeah, and learn more about pregnancy, birth, newborn care through those shared experiences.
So with all these incredible benefits, when are there situations where someone should absolutely stop exercising during pregnancy? The material does outline some important conditions.
Yes, vital to know these warning signs. Stop exercising immediately if you experience any vaginal bleeding, abdominal pain, regular and painful contractions, any leaking of fluid from your vagina.
Which could mean your water broke.
Could be, yes. Also, dizziness, a persistent headache, or chest pain, any of those, stop.
Okay.
And there are certain medical conditions where exercise might not be recommended. Things like being pregnant with multiples and at risk for early labor, having a cervical circlage, placenta previa after 26 weeks, preeclampsia, or severe anemia.
So in those cases, definitely talk to your provider.
Absolutely. Crucial to get personalized advice from your healthcare provider in any of those circumstances.
That's a really important list for everyone to be aware of. Now let's talk about finding the motivation to exercise, which I know can be a real challenge at times during pregnancy.
Whoa, totally normal for energy and motivation to fluctuate. The material acknowledges this and suggests that when you're finding it hard to get going, just reminding yourself of all those positive effects we discussed can often provide that needed boost.
Just remember the why. And if just remembering isn't quite enough, are there other practical strategies?
Absolutely. Making exercise enjoyable is key. Love to dance? Put on music and move at home.
Yeah.
Create a motivating playlist could be good for labor, too. Find online videos you like, identify your peak energy time, and try to schedule activity then.
Work with your body's rhythm.
Right. Adjust based on symptoms, too, like avoiding exercise right after eating if heartburn's an issue. Listen to music or podcasts during chores to make them feel more like movement.
Sneaky exercise.
Kind of. And remember, if you feel down or have back pain, exercise often helps. If you struggle alone, consider a class, a trainer if possible, or buddying up with a friend.
Accountability helps.
It does. Fitness trackers can help too. But ultimately, be kind to yourself. If you miss a day, it's okay. Just aim to get back to it.
That's a really compassionate and realistic approach.
Yeah.
Now, the material breaks down exercise options into aerobic and anaerobic.
hmm
Could you explain the main difference and which types are generally recommended?
Sure. So aerobic exercise gets your heart rate up for a sustained time, think endurance, cardiovascular fitness.
Like walking or swimming?
Exactly. Anaerobic is more about short bursts of energy building muscle strength, improving balance, flexibility. Think yoga, weights.
Okay.
Both types offer valuable benefits during pregnancy. The right amount and type for you depends on your health, your pregnancy specifics, your fitness level, what you did before pregnancy.
So it's individual.
Very individual. And listen to your body's signals. If something leaves you exhausted or causes pain, ease off or switch activities. If you have pelvic instability or pain, avoid movements where one leg bears more weight.
Makes sense.
Ultimately, getting personalized advice from your provider or a specialized physical therapist or trainer is always the best way to go.
So when it comes to aerobic exercise, what are some good low-impact options generally recommended?
Yeah, low impact is generally preferred because it's gentler on your joints and pelvic floor. Great options include brisk walking, cycling, especially stationary,
Okay.
cross-country skiing if that's your thing. Low-impact dance classes like Zumba or prenatal fitness are good. Ellipticals are usually safe, though they note high-intensity spinning might raise heart rate and temp too quickly sometimes.
And monitor intensity.
Definitely. Swimming and water aerobics are fantastic total body workout, minimal joint stress, and the water can even help reduce swelling.
Oh, that's a nice bonus.
Yeah.
How much aerobic exercise is recommended?
The general guideline is aiming for at least 150 minutes of moderate intensity aerobic exercise per week.
Like 30 minutes, 5 days a week.
Exactly. That's a good way to break it down. A typical workout, 5-minute warm-up, about 30 minutes aerobic, 5-minute cool down.
And what if you were doing vigorous exercise before pregnancy?
If you are regularly doing vigorous exercise and your pregnancy is low risk, it's usually okay to continue, maybe with some modifications. If you're new to exercise, start slowly, gradually, increase duration and intensity. And remember that talk test.
Always the talk test.
Eh.
And what about anaerobic exercises? The material mentions yoga, Pilates, weights.
Yes, these usually don't elevate your heart rate quite as dramatically, but offer other crucial benefits. Yoga is great for balanced mind, body, spirit, plus core strength, posture, flexibility, breathing, focus.
Lots of benefits there.
Prenatal Pilates is another excellent choice for core strength, flexibility, focus. Just avoid advanced abdominal exercises. Tai Chi is praised for gentle movements, improving balance, focus, meditation. Weightlifting can be good for targeted strength and core support. Especially if you already lifted weights, just use lighter weights.
And if you're new to weights,
Best to work with a qualified trainer experienced with pregnancy. High-intensity stuff like CrossFit needs significant modification. Lots of classes available, gyms, community centers, online.
it sounds like there's a really wide range of safe and beneficial ways to stay active.
Yeah.
What about participating in sports and higher intensity activities? Any specific considerations or things to avoid?
Yeah, pregnancy isn't really the time to take up new sports that need high balance, involve sudden moves, or have a big risk of falls.
Makes sense.
If you already played tennis or softball or did vigorous swimming or cycling before and your pregnancy is uncomplicated, it's usually fine to continue as long as you feel comfortable.
Okay.
But later in pregnancy, probably wise to avoid activities needing excellent balance and risking high-impact falls like downhill skiing, water skiing, snowmobiling, horseback riding.
Right, balance shifts.
Exactly. And throughout pregnancy, definitely avoid inherently risky activities. Skydiving, scuba diving, springboard diving, surfing, rock, or mountain climbing, especially above 6,000 feet.
Okay, those seem pretty clear-cut.
Yeah. The material advises carefully weighing benefits versus risks for any athletic activity, and always checking with your healthcare provider if you're unsure.
That's a really comprehensive overview of exercise. Now, the material also dedicates a good amount of attention to core exercises specifically to help prepare for labor, which I think many expectant parents are really interested in.
Absolutely. Your core muscles, abdominals, deep back muscles, pelvic floor, diaphragm are vital for stability, balance, posture, and crucially supporting you during childbirth and recovery.
So conditioning them makes a difference.
It really can. The material starts with the pelvic floor muscles, explaining their layers and essential function in supporting pelvic organs, especially with the added weight and hormonal softening.
And strengthening these seems to offer benefits beyond just labor prep.
It does indeed. Strengthening your pelvic floor can help reduce that feeling of heaviness or pressure some women get.
Mm-hmm.
It can also help prevent urinary and fecal incontinence, improve gas control. It prepares the muscles for stretching during pushing, and helps them return to normal tone afterwards, aiding postpartum recovery.
And enhance sexual enjoyment, you mentioned.
Yes, that's an added bonus.
Yeah.
Good tone helps there too. The material emphasizes needing good length, tone, balance, coordination, strength, responsiveness, endurance. It's not one size fits all.
Right.
They even give ways to sort of self-assess strength, like briefly stopping urine flow, though don't do that often.
Okay.
Or gently inserting a finger to feel the squeeze, or even getting partner feedback.
I appreciate that they address that pelvic floor muscles can be either weak or too tense.
That's a really important distinction. Issues like pelvic or lower back pain, bowel problems, pain during intercourse, urinary issues might actually indicate too much tension. Muscles are adaptable. They respond to exercises designed to either strengthen or relax them. They strongly suggest seeing a women's health physical therapist for a personalized assessment and guidance.
That sounds like a very good idea. Now let's get into the specific exercises. The material details pelvic floor contractions, often called Kegels. How do you do those correctly during pregnancy?
Right, so Kegels aim to strengthen these muscles, improve blood flow, help prevent hemorrhoids and incontinence, and support pelvic organs. Easiest to start lying down, back, or side.
Okay.
Then progress to sitting and standing as you get better to work against gravity. The exercise itself is contracting the muscles around your urethra and vagina, like stopping urine flow.
But without using other muscles.
Exactly. Don't engage buttocks, thighs, or abs. You should feel a subtle lift and tightening inside. Hold it firmly for about 10 seconds, then relax for 5 seconds between reps.
10 seconds seems long.
It can be, especially during pregnancy, they acknowledge that. Aim for it, but consistency is key. Aim for several sets of 10 reps throughout the day. You'll likely notice more strength postpartum too.
And what about pelvic floor relaxation exercises? That seems just as important for childbirth.
Absolutely crucial. The aim here is reducing excess tension, improving your conscious connection to this area, and preparing for the stretching during pushing.
How do you do that?
Start lying comfortably, fully supported, consciously relax all your muscles, then focus on your pelvic floor, visualizing it softening, releasing, becoming heavy.
Mm-hmm.
Pay attention to your breath too. You'll likely notice a natural, gentle downward bulge on the inhale and a slight lift on the exhale. Practice this daily. Eventually try it sitting too.
The material also mentions pelvic floor bulging. What's the purpose of that one?
This one is specifically designed to help you prepare for the pushing phase of labor, actively delivering the baby.
Okay, how does that work?
You start sitting cross-legged, Taylor style, or in a comfortable birthing position. Empty bladder first. Relax your pelvic floor. Take a breath in. Then gently bear down like having a bowel movement.
Gently.
Yes, gently. Allow the pelvic floor to relax further and bulge outward. You can place a hand on your perineum to feel this. Hold the gentle bearing down for maybe 3 to 5 seconds. Stop, inhale, gently contract the pelvic floor, then exhale and rest.
Okay.
Once comfortable doing that, holding your breath, try it while exhaling. This one's usually recommended just once or twice a week.
That's fascinating, really targeted prep. Now moving on to the abdominal muscles. The material explains they're important, but traditional ab exercises need caution.
That's right. The growing uterus stretches them naturally, so things like double leg lifts and full sit-ups can put too much strain on your back and abs, especially later on. The focus is on conditioning without undue stress.
Such as the transverse abdominal contractions. What are those and how do you do them?
Okay, the transverse abdominis is your deepest ab muscle layer. Strengthening it gives core stability,
Yeah.
helps with active pushing, and aids postpartum recovery, flattening the tummy, closing any separation.
How do you activate it?
Sit upright with good back support. Take a deep breath in, let your belly expand. As you slowly exhale, gently draw your belly button in towards your spine. Hold that contraction for 10-20 seconds without holding your breath.
Okay. Breathing normally while holding it.
Exactly. There's a variation too. Pulsing the contraction, slight release on inhale, tighten again on exhale. Start with 2 sets of 10 reps, increase gradually. Great exercise throughout pregnancy and postpartum.
And then there are pelvic tilts, described in 3 different positions.
Yes, pelvic tilts are excellent for strengthening abs, improving posture, and relieving back pain. You exhale, gently tighten your abs, hold for 5-10 seconds, imagining you're gently hugging the baby. This tilts the front of your pelvis up slightly. Repeat about 10 times daily.
And the positions,
First is lying on your back, knees bent, feet flat, focusing on flattening your lower back to the floor if you feel dizzy there.
which can happen later on.
Right. Then try it on hands and knees. Neutral spine first, then tighten abs, pelvis curls under slightly, lower back arches a bit.
Okay.
Third is standing. Initially against a wall, knees bent, feet slightly away, buttocks, shoulders touching wall. Contract abs, lower back presses gently into the wall. Then progress to doing it standing upright, feeling that subtle pelvic tilt.
Squats are another exercise highlighted for birth prep.
Right.
What are the benefits and how to do them safely?
Squatting can be really helpful during pushing because gravity assists baby's descent and the position opens the pelvic outlet. But caution if you have hip, knee, ankle issues, or hemorrhoids.
Right. What are the aims then?
Getting comfortable with the position, increasing pelvic joint flexibility, stretching inner thighs and calves. Start feet about 24 inches apart. Lower your buttocks towards the floor. Keep heels down. Let your lower back keep its natural curve.
Heels down is key.
Yes. Distribute weight evenly. Hold as long as comfortable. Work up to 90 seconds. Rise slowly using leg muscles. If full squats are tough, tailor sitting is a good inner thigh stretch alternative.
What if you need help with balance?
Use stable furniture, doorknobs, a partner's hands. There's even an alternative squat with a seated partner if you have leg or pubic pain.
And if heels lift or feet roll in?
Often tight calves. Try a wider stance, low heels, or support under your heels like a rolled towel. They suggest starting squats around week 35, beginning with 30-second holds, 10 times daily, consciously relaxing the pelvic floor in the squat.
And they address difficulty getting up from a squat.
Yes, they suggest the wall sit exercise to build thigh and buttock strength, detailing how to do that progressively.
That's a really thorough guide to squats. Now, the material also includes postural exercises to help align your body, which makes perfect sense given all the physical changes.
Definitely. Pregnancy stretches abs and upper back, tightens chest and hip flexors, pulling you out of alignment, causing discomfort. These exercises counteract that.
Like
Shoulder circles release tension, promote alignment. The pectoral stretch lengthens tight chest muscles, improves breathing. The hip flexor stretch targets those muscles at the front of the hips that get tight from posture changes in sitting. Clear instructions are provided for each.
And finally, the material delves into specific yoga poses to align body, mind, and spirit.
Yes, yoga offers benefits beyond the physical mindfulness, energy, calm, inner strength. The focus is on the movement and sensation, not perfect form, accepting daily variations.
Letting go of expectations.
Exactly. Key aspect. The material features poses suited for pregnancy and birth, reminding you to be mindful of overstretching due to relaxed joints, controlled movements, listen to your body, mind, emotions.
Prenatal classes or online resources recommended.
Yes, poses like cat pose, opposite limb extensions, child's pose, downward facing dog, often modified to half dog, corpse pose, often modified to side lying later, and a 5-minute meditation are detailed aims, starting positions, how-tos.
Okay.
They also suggest a yoga sequence specifically for labor prep, mimicking labor's rhythm of activity and rest.
That sounds like a really wonderful way to connect and prepare on multiple levels. The material also includes comfort measures for common pregnancy discomforts, which I'm sure is highly relevant.
Absolutely. This section explains why you get things like lower back pain, upper back pain, tingling numbness in arms, hands, carpal tunnel thoracic outlet, sudden sharp groin pain, round ligament, aching legs, swollen ankles, varicose veins, and those lovely leg cramps.
And it offers solutions.
Yes, both prevention tips, good posture, mindful movement, avoiding prolonged positions, and relief strategies. Heat-cold packs, warm baths, massage, specific stretches, and exercises tailored to each issue.
Like what for back pain?
Poses like half dog, cat, child's pose, pelvic tilts on hands, knees, a gentle knee to chest stretch. For swollen ankles, elevate legs, avoid crossing them, water activities support stockings. For leg cramps, stretching, hydration, minerals.
It's so helpful to understand the why and have practical relief options. The material even addresses sex during pregnancy, which people often wonder about but might feel awkward asking.
Yeah, it acknowledges experiences and feelings vary hugely due to physical, hormonal shifts and relationship dynamics. Discusses typical experiences each trimester, fluctuating libido, second trimester comfort, third trimester fatigue. Emphasizes intimacy isn't just intercourse, suggests alternatives. explains normal contractions with orgasm, oxytocin, and minor spotting can happen, but also lists clear reasons a provider might advise against intercourse.
Like high-risk situations.
Exactly. High risk of preterm labor, placenta previa, etc. And crucially, it highlights the importance of open communication with your partner about changing feelings and needs for intimacy and preparing for postpartum adjustments.
That's a really open and reassuring discussion. To bring everything together, the material concludes with some key points to really take away, a good summary.
Exactly. The main messages are good posture and mindful movement boost comfort now and aid recovery later.
Right.
Regular exercise improves muscle tone, strength, endurance, protects against back pain, eases discomforts, boosts energy, mood, self-image.
Huge benefit.
And finally, it's truly never too late to start incorporating mindful movement and exercise. Just set realistic expectations and celebrate every success, no matter how small.
This has been such an incredibly informative deep dive into feeling good and staying fit during pregnancy, drawing directly from the wealth of insightful information you shared with us. We really hope these practical tips and guidelines empower you listening to navigate this journey with more comfort, confidence, and well-being.
And please remember, while we've covered a lot today, this is general guidance based on the material provided. It's always essential to talk with your own healthcare provider for personalized advice tailored to your specific health situation and pregnancy.
Absolutely. And on that note, here's a final thought to carry with you. Consider how even small, consistent efforts towards mindful movement and attentive posture can create a significant positive ripple effect. It can profoundly impact not just your physical comfort now, but also your preparation for childbirth and your journey through postpartum recovery.
It's really an invitation to connect deeper with your body and appreciate its amazing strength and resilience during this time.